With YouTube demonetizing independent media, please consider becoming a patron today for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo, and a couple months ago, we had this horrible situation with YouTube where this woman, disgruntled over the adpocalypse, disgruntled over the partnership program changes, went to San Bruno, went to the home of YouTube with a gun, opened fire. Thankfully, no one was killed, except she then turned the gun on herself. And it was a wild ride after the fact. Not only were people on Twitter saying that I was the shooter as a joke, which case that led to me being interviewed by a bunch of different publications. So thanks. But just everyone was worried because a lot of people, myself included, when you heard there's an active shooter on YouTube HQ, our first thought was like, please don't let this be over the apocalypse. Please don't let this be over that. And then the reports came out, oh, it's over jilted lover. And in which case, and I'll admit, and this is probably horrible for me to admit, but I'll admit this. My first thought was, oh, thank God. Right? Like, just, that is understandable. Not like I agree with it or whatever, but like these things have happened before. But then, of course, that report turned out to be false. And we learned that this woman did what she did as a result of just being angry at YouTube. And then not much since then. It's been kind of quiet. YouTube has not talked about it much. No one's really brought it up. But here we got a little bit more information. The YouTube shooter had actually gone to the HQ the day before the attack and inquired about a job. That's frightening to me on a number of levels. Because this was premeditated then. This wasn't her being frustrated and going up there and demanding answers and opening fire, which she didn't do, but I thought that might have been like her train of thought. This was more premeditated. This was her staking the place out, I think. And it makes it even more terrifying. Now, it says here that YouTube shooter Nasim Aghdam visited the tech campus and asked about a job a full day before she opened fire at the outdoor courtyard, wounding 3 people before fatally shooting herself. The news release from San Bruno police also included a previously unreported detail that moments before the April 3rd shooting, the 38-year-old Aghdam was initially stopped by a YouTube employee and asked for her company ID. Aghdam reportedly responded by pulling out a pistol of her purse and prompting the employee to run away and call 911. So she was stopped by somebody there. And that person called 911 like right away. So I think that might have actually helped the situation a little bit. But it goes to show you just how out there she was by the time it got to this point. She then entered the courtyard where she fired randomly to a lunchtime crowd before shooting and killing herself. The detail about her earlier appearance at YouTube's Cherry Avenue headquarters provides a notable new point in the timeline leading up to the shooting, according to the police. She went there around 12:40 p.m. on April 2nd and was at the site for about 10 minutes, during which she asked directions to the main office and eventually showed up at the front desk where she inquired about employment. So she was looking for, she went to this campus, and these campuses are usually pretty big. They're pretty huge, right? And so she went there and she was like, I need to know where to probably inflict the most damage. I need to know where, she was casing the place. Shows entire premeditation, right? Entire premeditation. And that just makes it all the more worse, and even makes me the more thankful that no one else was killed. I mean, people were injured, don't get me wrong, and that is terrible, but it makes me very glad that no one else was killed because this was as premeditated, because we didn't know any of this. We thought she went up there angry, and this is what happened. But when you learn that extra little nugget of information, it does almost turn the entire situation on its ear a little bit. Now, until Thursday, the known timeline for Aghdam consisted of her last being seen in San Diego 3 days before the shooting, then being contacted by police while she was sleeping in her car in Mountain View on the night of April 2nd. The morning of April 3rd, she appeared at a local gun range about 2 hours before she appeared at the tech campus and opened fire. And again, she went to a gun range before, like directly before going and firing. And I mean, you know, I don't really want to bring up the whole divine thing here, but I just keep flashing that scene from Pulp Fiction in my head over and over and over again. You know, where Frank Whaley comes out. Oh no, not Frank Whaley, but that one guy comes out with the gun and fires 6 rounds and none of them hit Jules or Vince. You know, and it's like just that whole thing. But she cased the place out. She got her trigger finger loosened up, and she still failed to cause more damage, and that is, it's a miracle. There's no other way to describe it, folks. It's a miracle. Now, her family contends that when they alerted that she was in Mountain View, they warned police about her animosity towards YouTube. But the police said Aghdam exhibited no suspicious or criminal behavior, and that the family did not suggest she was planning to commit violence. Well, that one's gonna be debatable forever, I think. Now, the new information from police also detail a previously unknown encounter between Aghdam and a YouTube employee as she walked from a nearby parking garage on Bay Hill Drive to an outdoor courtyard. Police say that the employee requested that she produce a YouTube ID. She ignored the request and removed her pistol. Okay, so this is also referencing back to what they mentioned before. She also walked east through the courtyard and began firing indiscriminately into a crowd of employees eating lunch. She emptied her pistol of ammunition, reloaded another magazine, and continued firing at the building and into the crowd. And then she turned the pistol on herself. So what this tells me, and I'm no psychologist or whatever, but what this tells me is that she didn't go there with the specific intent to kill a specific person. This isn't her like targeting Susan Wojcicki, which thank God, right? And as much as I criticize Wojcicki, I also want her to be safe. So this isn't that situation at all. She went there and she opened fire, I think to just inflict damage. I think it was more like to send a warning. Right, I bet if there was any kind of manifesto, we would learn that she was doing this for the greater good, the quote-unquote greater good, like for the rest of us. You know, like, I will make the sacrifice so you guys can get ahead. And I mean, I don't know how true, I don't know. I feel like that kind of, like, to me, that feels like maybe a martyring. She was trying to martyr herself because she was so frustrated. You know, and if like, I have no evidence, nothing to support that theory. It's a thought. And if it's true, if that even remotely was true, that would make me feel 100% worse over this entire situation. Because that's just ridiculous. You know, that's just terrible shit. Oh, she fired the gun into her own chest, by the way. That's interesting. Probably because she wanted maybe an open casket. That's what I would assume. By the time the horror had ceased, police said 20 bullets had been fired, with one round still remaining in her 9mm semi-automatic handgun, which she purchased in January 2nd in San Diego. She got the gun on January 16th, the same day the internet giant announced more stringent rules for how users make money on the platform, apparently spurring a grudge fueled by the notion YouTube was censoring graphic anti-animal cruelty videos she had posted and had stopped selling ads for her workout videos. She got hit pretty hard. So did a lot of people. And again, this boils down to the concept of the lack of communication. That lack of communication from YouTube really, really, really bothered a lot of people because they were frustrated. And that frustration, I believe, is one that led heavily to the situation. Now, police reaffirmed Thursday that she acted alone and that the primary motive for this crime was believed to be Aghdam's displeasure with YouTube's business practices. There is no evidence that her actions were intended to support any specific cause or ideology. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. This woman, you know, she wasn't trying to do that. We would have known by now if she was. We would have known by now if there were any other malicious behavior or actions or things like that. This was a person who was frustrated, who was angry at the system, angry at this company, that for years had basically said, you can do it, you can make it. So many people out there have made it. I'm sure she would look at someone like me who does this as a full-time job and would be like, you're just a lazy sack of shit. You don't deserve what you have. You know, I get that a lot from a lot of different people. But that's the whole thing. That's kind of where I'm at with this now, is like, she was so disillusioned and felt disenfranchised that this is how she chose to act out. And at the end of it, she turned the gun on herself and nothing changed. Nothing changed. We now know more about her motivation, which makes it even more frightening. But nothing changed, right? And that is like, you know, when you martyr yourself, you expect things to change. You're doing it for a cause. Nothing's happened. So, you know, Nasim Aghdam is dead. And nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is that she is now known as the YouTube shooter, And everyone talked about her, which may be what she wanted. But that's it. And at no point in time does it benefit her or her message, because she ultimately left us with none. No manifesto, no final video. It wasn't an Elliot Rodger situation where there was a warning ahead of time. This was a sneak attack. Caught everyone off guard. Still changed nothing. So, that's where we are. 3 wounded, 1 dead. Nothing's changed. This is sad. It is. It's just really, really, really sad. However, I now leave it to you. What do you guys think about this? Do you think this shows that she was more dedicated to this? Do you think she'd been plotting this for a while? Do you think, what do you think her end goal was? I mean, she fired indiscriminately into a crowd of people and at the building. What purpose? What could it possibly be? Let me know. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is the channel. If you haven't already, please thumbs it up, subscribe. If you want, share it around, support via Patreon, or if you want to watch more content, you can do so right now.